Welcome back to our videos on how to use our design research tools from Centre for Circular Design. My name's Professor Becky Early and I've been taking you through different ways to play and different ways to use our free downloadable design tools, which are all available from textiletoolbox.com. Before you get going with this one is about one of the ways to play with TEDS 10. This is called creating a leading hand, a lead card, and we would recommend really that you have watched the TEDS 10 film and also gone onto Textile Toolbox and watched the animations. You may also like to find Professor Kay Politovich's keynote talk, her inaugural talk, which is a really great presentation about TEDS 10. There are quite a few others online, so try to watch and take in as many TEDS 10 films and resources as you can, so that you kind of know what they're about before you then maybe go into this lead card and sort of coding set of exercises. So the first one is about creating your own unique hand. And the principle behind this is that we're trying to make sustainable design accessible by everybody, and obviously there's a huge amount of information to take in. It can be quite overwhelming really for those at the beginning of their sustainable design journey. So we deliberately try to break the process down, break the thinking down into smaller sort of chunks that you can then sort of navigate yourself at your own pace and also sort of guide yourself to in terms of working with those strategies that are most important to you, how you design, what you're making and your brand. So as you've seen before, the 10 kind of break down into different principles, and the first thing you need to do is really think about which of these is most important to me. Sort of, what am I doing already? What information do I know? Where do I know a lot of information? Where am I already sort of acting on these ideas? And it might be that you're coming to this from being a natural dye practitioner, or you might be a zero waste fashion designer, or like myself and some of my team, you really work with the circular economy and cyclability as a guiding factor. And if that's the case, then maybe you would have card number 2 as your lead card. Let me just put it here so you can kind of see it. So there we go, card 2, design for cyclability. I would say without doubt that that's, you know, been my lead card for a really, really long time. Always interested in making and reusing recycled materials, and then later on making sure that those things that I was making could be recycled at a later point. So this is my lead card. But I've also always worked with heat transfer printing and tried to sort of develop techniques there to really reduce the amount of water and energy going into the printed textiles. So strategy 4, design to reduce energy and water use, is kind of in my second layer of thinking. And along with that, really the kind of exhaust printing process that I developed over time embraces number 3, reducing chemical impacts. And then sort of amongst those, I would, you know, within those, I would also be dealing with low launder design, making sure that things I was designing maybe don't have to be washed super often, or can be washed at low temperatures, that kind of thing. But I've often also used all my waste in making textiles as well. So design to minimise waste, I would put maybe 4, 3 and 1 in my second tier of thinking. And then the others, you know, I suppose, what would I say? I do embrace nature and history in my thinking, but not like as a primary motivating driver. I would say that they are there as things that I consider and look at as I'm refining my ideas. In terms of ethical production, yes, always looking to see who's making the stuff for me and what conditions those are in. So this is my third level. And then I think the others, you might even have to go like this for me, where these come on a fourth row, 8, 9, and 10. Problems of thinking live. I think maybe 6, 7, 8, and 9 are my third row. Technology has just dropped off the table. Let me go and get it back. Yeah, I'm actually going to put design that explores cleaner and better technologies in my second tier of thinking here, because that's something that I'm continuously doing now. I'm much more of a researcher, and I suppose I sort of consciously moved away from the heat transfer process that I was using and into using sort of very small samples that I'd created that I then scanned and digitally manipulated, and I would start to use sort of digital printing. So I think that I'm a 2, and then a 1, 3, 4, 5, and then a 6, 7, 8, 9 as my third tier. But I think for me anyway, activism actually comes right back in to my lead cards, mostly because I've become a researcher, and in doing that, it's very much part of the process to write the ideas up, to publish, to lecture as an educator. And inherent within those practices is this idea that you are part of sort of creating change. You're part of creating the mindset shift and the discourse that leads to greater kind of cultural, educational, industry change. So that's how you use the 10 to reflect back on your practice and understand where you fit into the landscape of sustainable design, what you're currently sort of strong at and why that is, what you rely on and often draw from in terms of sort of getting the work done, but also this sort of outer layer of what you're always thinking about and what you can build in and what you can kind of grow to be, and how you can be part of the shift to things like the sharing economy. So I hope that little session's been helpful to you, to help you understand how you might have a go at playing with TED's 10 cards, and there'll be more tutorials coming online with more games, so keep watching and don't forget to subscribe.